Jeff, a lot of players, a lot of analysts had Mo ranked in his top 5, top 3. How delighted are you that he fell to 6 and you were able to get him?
Surprised and elated that Mo fell to us at 6. We knew the scenarios. We knew that what it would take for something like that to happen, and we knew for that to happen there would have to be movement in front of us. And the Dallas-Atlanta trade was the movement that we needed.
Jeff, a lot of fans are clamoring for a point guard and shooting, are deeply curious. Did the Magic have Mo Bamba rated ahead of Trae Young on the Magic's draft board?
As you know, Joel, we will never comment on anything like that. We are elated to get Mo Bamba. We jumped through the roof when he was available, and we look forward to a very bright future with Mo.
Jeff, do you like tall guys with long arms?
Yeah.
Is that really what you guys look for consistently?
You know, there are so many things that you need to be successful in the league, but you know, length is a huge element of just floor coverage, and it has to go along with all of the other ingredients that you need. It's not the only thing you need, but if you can have it and maintain skill level and all the other intangibles that you would list, you'd always rather have it. And when you start adding it up with a lot of players, it kind of becomes kind of a force multiplier.
Mo's obviously someone that's was known in his 1 year in college for his defense. How much does having him in his presence and yes, his length, how much does that change the defensive potential of the group that you have?
Yeah, we think Mo has, you know, the potential to be one of the elite defenders in the league. Obviously, he's going to have to work hard to get there, and it will take some time. But, you know, the comparisons often get made with him and Rudy Gobert. You know, he will be the longest player in the NBA, 7'10" wingspan. And he's already, in his short time playing in college, proven to be an elite level shot blocker. And he's got good feet. He's a smart player. You know, I always say this to you guys, but it's true. You know, we don't just draft the player, we draft the person. And he's a unique individual who happens to be a unique basketball player as well.
Jeff, how do you see Mo fitting in with Aaron and Jonathan Isaac, especially on the defensive end? I mean, and what do you see with those three offensively?
Well, I would say those are more Coach Clifford questions. Obviously, you know, Mo comes in as a rookie, and he has to earn what he gets his rookie year, and that'll be a summer of hard work and you know, dedication to his body and to learning coaches' schemes, and that stuff will sort itself out as we get further along.
Jeff, with adding Mo and already having Nick Vucevic here and Bismack Biyombo and then Isaac and Gordon as those are vast, is that something you see kind of sorting itself out over the course of the rest of the summer? Because it seems like a lot of guys for few spots. Yeah,
if we're going to be good, we need all hands on deck. You know, they're all at different stages of their careers and development curves, and you know, it's our job to develop the young guys, improve the veteran guys, and mesh the unit together. I do believe we've added a significant talent to our team, and as I say, I think one of utmost character and intelligence. And I think when you start adding people like that, you know, good things happen.
Jeff, what does this specifically mean for the future of Nick Vucevic? He's approaching his final year under contract with the team. Does this mean that long-term he's not a part of the team's plans?
Not at all. Obviously, we'll have to discuss free agency at the appropriate time. It's not now. But as I said, you know, we've added a significant player, a significant person to our roster, but we need all hands on deck. And Vooch is an excellent player, and he's an outstanding human being. And you know, we we couldn't be, happier to have all of those guys on our team, because that's how you get good. You have depth, you have strong players, strong people. And as I said, they're all on different stages of their development process, and it's our job to mesh it together. And that's largely will fall on Coach Clifford's shoulders to bring the team along the right way. And we have the utmost confidence that he'll do that.
Jeff, it seems like now in the small ball era, the number one question with a big is, can he stay on the floor when the other teams go small? How much confidence do you have in that? And what did you see with the jump shot? I mean, we've all seen the videos, him making 10, 12 threes in a row. He said he put up 200,000. How well-rounded is he, not just defensively?
Sky's the limit. I think he's already shown that he has the potential to be an elite defender. And I can tell you from a scouting perspective, when you watch Mo play, you look at his feet, his hands, his frame, his anticipation, and you kind of start to think about the things that he could become. And you also envision him in an NBA game where, he's not maybe used in the post, but as a roller, as a vertical spacer. This is where the league is for big guys now. The fact that he may be able to become an effective three-point shooter, and he's already an adequate free throw shooter for a big guy, which is a huge predictor for NBA shooting. All lines up to, make him a highly interesting prospect. And as I said, as I'll say again, the character is the glue. It's always the cement that brings it all together, and we believe in him.
Jeff, you mentioned how you related to get Bamba. Were you guys interested in even moving up past 6, or were you guys just going to stay put?
We explore everything. We had a lot of discussions with teams behind us. We had discussions with teams in front of us. The one thing that we never did was have a discussion with a team where we would move out of the pick before we saw who was on the board.
Obviously, the second round can be a little bit of a free-for-all. What differentiated Melvin at 35 from some of the other players that you may have been surprised that were there, that were still on the board?
We had Melvin rated much higher than 35. So when he was there, we were a little surprised. We kind of felt it was trending that way in the last couple of days for whatever reason. You could never really understand these things, is the truth. But we kind of, just by the chatter, heard that he was maybe, sliding a little bit. I still think we would not have expected him to be there at 35. But, we consider ourselves fortunate that he got that far. And he's a very talented player. And, it's our job to develop him the right way.
What will your expectations be for Mo his rookie year?
I don't like to do that. I don't like to get into the expectations game. My expectation for Mo his rookie year is to be the hardest worker on our team, and to integrate into our organization and develop himself on and off the court to be the best player and person that he can be. It's his responsibility, and it's our responsibility to get him to reach his potential.
Jeff, with Jonathan last year and Wesley last year, Mo and Melvin this year, it seems like you guys have an eye on players who are making big jumps from where they started college to where their maybe college career ended, but with still a lot of room to go. Is that something you're targeting, with a lot of room to still improve in their games?
Yeah, I think it's a big part of scouting is you always want to know what the kid's curve was. It's a lot of the background work that we do because it helps you to gain an understanding on his path, so you can understand where he is on his development curve, and it's a huge part of the process. It's a great question. So obviously age is part of that, but even experience, pedigree, was this kid supposed to be this player from age 13, or did he come out of nowhere? Was he heavily recruited, or was he not? Is he a self-made player? How did he come to being in front of us today? It's just like getting to know a person. You know, you sit with someone for an hour and you understand who they are. It's no different. And so, yeah, that is a big factor.
Jeff, we understand you're elated with your picks and that you found what you certainly perceive or rated as good value, but the team did not come away with a point guard tonight, did not come away with any dead-eye shooters, at least as the stats seem to indicate. How concerned are you about coming away from this draft without both a point guard and without improved three-point shooting?
You know, I would answer that question by answering another one of your questions, which is, will you go for the best player available or a position? And I said best player, and so we look to add the best players and the best fits for our organization in the draft. We still have work to do on the roster, of course. We're not going to build Rome in a day, but we feel that a guy like Mo is not easy to find. And, you know, we've still got a lot of heavy lifting to do. We've got a lot of work ahead of us. We have the summer to deal with that. And we're very happy to come away tonight with who we came away with.
Jeff, how do you approach filling that point guard position as we move forward, and what are you looking for in that person?
Well, the second part, you know, we're looking for one of us. You know, we're looking for someone who's, as we always say, play hard and play for each other. And as far as, you know, our approach, you know, obviously the next cycle of the NBA summer is free agency. It begins July 1, and we'll have to look at what players are out there and who we feel we can engage with. Obviously, there are trades. You know, you guys know all the arrows in our quiver, and we'll have to figure it out. You know, that's what we do. So we know the positions of need, and we know the elements that we need to add, and it's our job to use the summer to do that.
Jeff, along those lines, how quickly do you turn to free agency now, and then how high up is Aaron Gordon's deal in your thinking?
We turn to free agency tomorrow. We've actually already turned to free agency. We while going through the draft prep, we've already been beginning our free agency prep. There's just not enough time to do it otherwise. Obviously, Aaron is a huge priority for us. You know, we look forward to July 1 when we can dig in and start talking with his representatives. And, you know, we're hopeful that we'll have him back.
Jeff, how many times would you say you saw Mo play? How many times did John see him play? And how impressive of a kid was he when you got to talk to him? I mean, he's talked about he wants to travel to all 7 continents, and he's been to 5 of them, I think. And I think he has a lot of interest outside the court as well.
Yeah. Well, you guys will meet him tomorrow. He's a remarkable kid. He's very bright. He's very insightful. We saw him several times, and not just me. I have to say, you know, Matt Lloyd, Prosper Karangwa, you know, Anthony Parker, Tunji Adedipe, you know, our scouts, you know, Pete D'Alessandro, Becky Bonner. We all went out, and we all saw guys, and, you know, we've seen Mo many, many times. And then we hunker ourselves down in the war room for the weeks leading up to this night and pour over video. I mean, we've probably watched Mo's whole season, and you know, we try to leave no stone unturned, you know.
Jeff, please refresh my memory. Did you and your colleagues meet with Mo at the draft combine?
Yes.
How many subsequent face-to-face discussions did you or team representatives have with him after that, heading into tonight?
We did not. We met with him in Chicago. You know, spoke often with his representative, and unfortunately, he wasn't able to work the schedule to accommodate a visit with us. That being said, he was extremely accommodating with everything else that we asked of him. He was very compliant with taking any kind of tests or going through any medical procedures, and some of them were quite lengthy. They were just done remotely. But Mo was very compliant. We tried to work the schedule out. We couldn't. We had the Chicago visit, so we felt we had a pretty complete book on him.
Jeff, it feels like this, if I remember correct, this second year in a row, the first round pick didn't work out here. Is that something for you guys, or the workouts kind of overrated and you put more on what you see on tape from them as players in the season, or is it just didn't happen that way?
No, guys, this is the way the drafts work now. And, we can talk about, like, at this pick, but I can tell you we didn't get Melvin Frazier in either. This is the way the draft works now. If a guy's supposed to go in front of you, the likelihood is he won't visit you. And Mo was supposed to go in front of us. And we had great dialogue with his agent, and he actually, because he had other things going on, was able to stop in and visit a team in that city, but we just couldn't work it out. But there was never any kind of animosity or anything like that entering in. It was all a matter of just, we couldn't just work the schedule out, and it's been a kind of a compressed schedule this year because the draft is a week earlier. But as I said, we have a very rigorous protocol that we put our guys through, and Mo complied with everything. So, he was cooperative, and I think, trying to work everything out to make himself a Magic. We just couldn't work out the visit. And, that's the way the draft goes these days,
Jeff, at the Combine, Mo mentioned that a lot of teams had questions about his outside interests, as if having outside interests other than basketball is some sort of character flaw. What's your take on Mo's outside interests, and did those make him more appealing to your team?
I think intelligence and curiosity and humility make a person more appealing, because that's the kind of person that you feel can integrate into an organization. I can just tell you, when Mo Bamba left that room, we all looked at each other with our jaws dropped. We could not believe that kid. And you guys will meet him tomorrow, and you'll see for yourselves. He's a very impressive young guy, and he blew us away in Chicago.